Galactic Standard Date. Year 11356. Day 96. Sol Standard Date. 4th of the 8th, 3267. Ambassadors harness the Veil energies within to fly to the nearest city at 0.5c, thus making it a few seconds long trip. He had gotten used to clearing the Loby mob Azarians over the dozen or so worlds he has saved, and simply flew to the centre of the city, sensed all the sources of Veil energy within the city, and created tendrils of condensed Veil that he snaked through the city, piercing through any and all Azarians within the city. Each massacre of a few dozen Azarians only lasted for around a minute. Morelia watched in stunned awe as one moment she's in rather still, then the next the world zips by so quick everything blurred together. After a second or two of blur, they are floating above one of the nearby cities, and seconds later, pale green energies lance out in all directions, followed by demonic screeching throughout the city. As soon as the screeching stops, the process repeats itself. The world blurs, demons die, the world blurs again. Her head was spinning, as it tried to catch up with what exactly was even going on. She'd been so caught up in the moment that she hadn't really thought of the fact that she was now clinging to the back of the literal god of death. Oh fuck, what am I doing? What is going on? Why did I just go with the flow? Oh fuck, the world just blurred again. Ambassador sighed as he mopped up another city full of Azarians. Hey, Morelia, do you happen to know which direction your capital is? Morelia shakily pointed to his right, and he zipped in that direction. Moments later, they were above a city covered in resplendent gold trimmings and other regal decorations. Literally, every building had gold somewhere on it. White and gold here, black and gold there. It's almost as if they were trying to have a passive-aggressive battle of wealth with all their neighbours. The city hadn't been attacked yet, but Bastards could hear alarms blowing beneath him, as well as muffled shouts, which was probably because of his intrusion. He heard the crackle of a PA system coming from one of the buildings below him, and an angry-sounding voice played over the speakers. Unidentified xenofilth! Leave our airspace immediately or be destroyed! Bastards sighed and channeled energies throughout his body, amplifying his voice. I am not here to hurt you. In fact, it's just the opposite. I have saved several cities on the way here. I have come to speak with your leader, and to leave one that I saved in your care for a short time. The voice seemingly got angrier, and he could see a few squadrons of the wasps taking flight towards him. Listen here, filth. Leave this place, that you do not further sully our air with your nasty alien bile. If you do not, we will kill you. He narrowed his eyes and rubbed his temples. You want me to leave because I am an alien, regardless of the fact that I have been saving your people and have one in my care at this moment? Morelia tapped the back of his head and whispered, Hey, this is the capital. Only the richest and most powerful people live here, but, well, this behavior is normal for my people. Very few of my kind wish to cooperate with wingless, let alone aliens. As if to echo her words, the speaker seemed to snap as he yelled, That's it! I tire of your filthy presence! Soldiers, fire at will! Basser stared at the oncoming wasp with disdain and sighed. Guess I shouldn't have let you get my hopes up. Wasps will be wasps, he said, as he formed a pale green bubble around Morelia. The wasps opened fire on him, and the pitifully weak bullets bounced off his veil-hardened Basilian steel armor. Amid strangled shouts of anger and disgust, he noticed a couple of the wasps toss their guns down in dismay, before drawing a relatively long saber for their size. The wasp of course tried to charge at him, and he just hung in the air with a bored expression, as the swords sparkled off his chest. Another round of slashes and probably broken swords later, the wasps swarmed him, and started trying to stab him with their stingers instead. With a deep sigh, Bastila slowly floated towards the palace that stood in the centre of the city. The wasp had given up on taking him on directly and pulled away. He breathed a sigh of relief, and his mood brightened substantially, until he noticed the flak cannon and CIW analogues popping out of their hidden emplacements. He slowly palmed his face and sighed as the CIWs began firing their ineffectual ammunition at him. These bullets were substantially bigger at least. He snatched one of the bullets out of the air and examined it, while thousands more pelted him. Based on the velocity of these things, these might be pretty close to 20mm. I'm actually impressed. That would certainly do in the mob Azarians. Hey, Morelia, if you guys had weapons like these, how come the Azarians have managed to take so many cities? He looked back to see a shaking Morelia. Morelia was terrified of the oncoming rain of death that people were shooting, but Basta seemed completely bored and somewhat disappointed, so she tried to hold it together. That's because the weapons are too expensive. It costs too much a regular city law to purchase and maintain. There are very few cities that would even have one. They can only afford these because the tax is placed on the rest.
Upon hearing that, Basilisk's eye twitched and his jaw clenched. So you're saying that they can afford to practically build their homes out of gold and build all of these guns, but not a single one of those cities before could have either? I only saw a few buildings with gold, anything on them in the previous cities. That's because of a tax difference? How high are the taxes?
Morelia's grip tightened. About 80% from the poor, 70% for the middle class, then 12% for the rich.
Basilisk growled, and suddenly flew into the wall of the palace, which crumbled away as he impacted it. He stepped away from the mess of rubble and stomped through the halls. He was long over being too tall even for the massive palace halls. Each floor was only 10 foot tall respectfully, so he just bulldozed the palace as he walked through the most expensive-looking things he could see. Guards shot at him and busted around to no effect, as he simply destroyed his way through the palace, looking for a throne room.